Welcome back to the deep dive. So last time, if you were listening, we started talking about trekking to Everest Base Camp.
hmm
We kind of set the scene, right? Established that this amazing trip isn't only for, elite mountaineers.
Exactly. We talked about how it's actually quite accessible for people who aren't climbers but have that adventurous spirit and, well, decent fitness.
Yeah, you don't need to be tackling ice walls, basically.
Not at all.
Yeah.
The trek itself is the route to experiencing that incredible Everest scenery.
Okay, so that brings us nicely to this part. Now that we've got the basic idea, let's really unpack what doing this trek actually looks like day to day.
Right, the practicalities.
We've got a great resource here, actually.
hmm
It's a pretty detailed 15-day itinerary from a trekking company that, specializes in these trips.
Ah, okay. So a standard plan.
Yeah, exactly. And our mission today is to walk you through it. We want to give you a clear picture of the journey, the highlights, and I guess why it's such a compelling adventure for someone wanting that mix of challenge, nature, and culture, but without the technical climbing aspect.
Absolutely. We're aiming to trace the rhythm of this journey, day by day. What you see, who you meet, what makes it more than just a long walk.
Okay, let's dive into this 15-day plan then. Day one starts, as you'd expect, with arrival in Kathmandu. That's at about 1,250 meters.
Standard procedure.
Yeah, just getting there, settling into the hotel. A bit of acclimatization even at that relatively low altitude, I suppose.
Well, it's more about adjusting to the time, the place, absorbing Kathmandu's energy before you head higher. It's an important first step.
Right. Day two, things kick up a notch. There's a scenic flight involved from Manthali to Lukla. Now, Lukla's already at 2,040 meters.
Significant jump.
Yeah, and the source material describes this airport as, well, pretty dramatic, clinging to a mountainside.
Oh, it is. Lukla Airport is legendary. The runway, the location, it's an experience in itself.
I bet. So from Lukla, the trek starts, but it's actually a gentle descent first down to Phakding at 2,640 meters. Takes about 3 hours, apparently, following the Dingboche River.
The Milk River, yeah.
And you start getting your first glimpses of peaks like Mount Kumbala and Kusum
And that initial trek is deliberately gentler. It lets your body start that acclimatization process, get used to walking at altitude without overdoing it on day one. Well, day two, technically.
Makes sense. Okay, day three. This is a longer trek, maybe 6 hours, from Phakding up to Namche Bazaar. And that's a big jump to 300 and 440 meters.
It is a proper climb.
The itinerary mentions walking through pine forests, crossing the Dingboche again, and then entering Sagarmatha National Park.
Ah, Sagarmatha, the Nepali name for Everest, and a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Exactly. So hugely important area. The description even mentions a chance, maybe a slim one, of spotting snow leopards or lesser pandas.
Wow, that would be amazing. Very rare, I imagine. But it highlights the biodiversity there. Sagarmatha isn't just about Everest, it's the whole ecosystem and the Sherpa culture.
Right. And then there's a steeper climb up to Namche Bazaar itself, which is described as the main town, the commercial hub of the Khumbu region.
It really is. Namche is vibrant, it's where trekkers resupply, and you get a real sense of Sherpa life. It's a key point in the trek.
So day four is set aside for acclimatization in Namche, staying at 3,440 meters.
Crucial, absolutely crucial at this altitude.
Yeah, you need to let your body adjust. The plan suggests things like, picking up any gear you forgot, maybe relaxing in a cafe.
There are some surprisingly good bakeries there now.
Really? Huh. Okay. Or checking out the market if it's a Saturday, visiting the Everest Photo Gallery or the Sherpa Culture Museum.
Good options. Keep active, but gently.
And for those feeling energetic, there are optional hikes.
Mhm.
One is to the Everest View Hotel.
Mm.
The name says it all, I guess.
It certainly does. That's often where people get their first really clear, stunning view of Everest itself. Worth the effort if you feel up to it.
Or a hike to Kumjong Village to see more traditional Sherpa life.
Also a great option. So this acclimatization day isn't just sitting around. It's active acclimatization, which is better for your body. Plus you get culture and views.
Got it. Okay, day five. Trekking from Namche Bazaar up to Tengboche, reaching 3,867 meters.
Another step up.
It says the first part is easier, walking along the river. Then it's uphill again to Tengboche, through rhododendron forests, which must be amazing in spring.
Oh, incredible when they're in bloom. A real highlight.
And the destination, Tengboche, is famous for its monastery.
The Tengboche Monastery. Yes, it's the largest in the Khumbu, hugely important spiritually for the Sherpa people. And the location. Wow.
Right, the itinerary mentions panoramic views from there, Tengboche, Everest, Nuptse, Lhotse, Dablam, Temserku. Basically the superstar peaks.
Exactly. Standing there with the monastery and those mountains all around, it's quite a profound experience for many trekkers.
I can imagine. All right, day 6. Moving on from Tengboche to Dingboche, now up to 400 and 350 meters.
Getting higher. The air is thinner.
The route goes down first to a place called Lobuche, with more Everest views apparently, then crosses the Imja River and passes through Tengboche village, which has its own monastery, famous for a legend about a Mete Lama.
Ah, the local Yeti connection. Yeah, that adds a bit of folklore to the trail. Adds to the mystique.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Then it's the final ascent to Dingboche. The landscape changes here, apparently. More stone wall stupas,
Yeah.
those Buddhist shrines.
Yes, you're entering the higher valleys now. The landscape becomes more stark, more alpine. Those stone walls protecting fields, the stupas.
Yeah.
They're characteristic of these high Sherpa settlements. Very photogenic.
Day 7 is another acclimatization day, this time in Dingboche at 400 and 350 meters.
Again, essential. You're well over 4,000 meters now.
There's an optional hike suggested, about 4 hours up to Negerjen.
Negerjen Ridge, yeah.
For even more panoramic views, Lobuche east and west, Lhotse, Kangtega, Temserku, and a bird's eye view of the valley and Dingboche itself.
It's a tough hike, make no mistake, given the altitude. But the payoff in terms of views is immense. These acclimatization hikes really help you adjust while offering just spectacular perspectives. You really grasp the scale of the Himalayas from points like that.
Okay, day 8. Trekking from Dingboche to Lobuche. Now we're reaching 4,931 meters, almost 5,000.
Yep, this is high altitude trekking now. Pace becomes even more important.
The route goes past the Pheriche aid post, run by the Himalayan Rescue Association.
A very reassuring sight, knowing professional help is nearby if needed.
Then a steep climb alongside the Khumbu Glacier. That must be impressive.
It is. You're walking beside this massive river of ice.
And you reach a place called Chupki Lara, which has memorial shrines.
Yes, memorials to climbers and trekkers who've lost their lives on Everest and surrounding peaks. It's a very poignant, sobering place. It really commands respect for the mountains.
Wow. From there, though, views of Khumbuti, Lingtran, Pumori, more big names.
The views just keep getting more dramatic, more raw as you get higher.
Then day 9. This is billed as the big day. Trekking from Lobuche via Gorak Shep to Everest Base Camp itself.
The goal for many.
It's listed as an 8-hour day, taken slowly for altitude. First leg is to Gorak Shep at 5,170 meters. For a rest, I assume.
Yes, Gorak Shep is the last small settlement before base camp. Often people leave gear there, have lunch, then do the final push.
Right, and then the trek continues up to Everest Base Camp. Altitude listed as 5,364 meters.
That's it.
With views of Namche, Khumbu, Pumori, right there, standing at the foot of the giant.
It's hard to describe. For most people who trek there, reaching base camp is the culmination of so much effort and anticipation. You're right there amongst the glaciers, prayer flags fluttering, looking up towards the Khumbu icefall and Everest itself. It's often quite emotional.
I bet. But the journey isn't quite over at EBC. Day 10 involves a very early start for a trek up Kalapathar.
Ah, yes. The classic viewpoint.
It's even higher, 545 meters. And the reason for the early start is sunrise.
Exactly. Kalapathar offers probably the most iconic, unobstructed, panoramic view of Mount Everest. Seeing the sunrise hit the peak is unforgettable.
The description calls it a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Slow and steady climb, but worth it for the light hitting Everest.
Absolutely. It gets incredibly cold waiting for the sun, but when it hits those peaks, yeah, truly special. Many say the view of Everest is better from Kalapathar than from base camp itself.
Interesting. Okay, after soaking that in, day 10 involves descending all the way back down to Pheriche at 4,210 meters.
That's a significant drop. Good for recovery after being so high. Climb high, sleep low is the mantra.
Right. Okay, days 11 and 12 are mainly about the return journey. Day 11 is Pheriche back down to Namche Bazaar.
We're retracing some steps, but the views look different going down.
Following the Imja River again through forests, crossing suspension bridges. Sounds quite varied.
Still requires concentration, especially on the downhill sections.
And day 12 is the final trekking day, from Namche Bazaar all the way back down to Lukla at 2,840 meters.
This can be a tough day.
Yeah, the itinerary calls it challenging. Steep and rocky descents alongside the Dingboche. More forests, monasteries.
Your knees feel it by this point. But yeah, passing back through those villages, there's a real sense of accomplishment building.
Until finally you arrive back in Lukla. End of the trek.
Phew. A great feeling, usually celebrated with the guide and porters that evening. You've done it.
Day 13 is that scenic flight again, early morning. Lukla back to Kathmandu. One last look at the mountains from the air.
Weather permitting, of course. Flights can sometimes be delayed.
Which is why day 14 is a leisure day in Kathmandu, a buffer.
Exactly. A crucial buffer day. If flights are on time, it's a chance to relax, do some sightseeing you missed at the start, maybe get a massage. If there were delays, it absorbs that lost time. Very smart planning.
And finally, day 15 is departure. Wow, that's quite a journey packed into 2 weeks.
It really is. And you can see how the itinerary is structured for acclimatization, balancing the challenge with the experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the source also talks a bit about why this trek is so appealing. It positions it as this moderate alternative to actual climbing, making Everest accessible to, as it says, common folks.
Which is a great way to put it. It opens up this incredible region to so many more people.
And it emphasizes the connection you get not just with nature, but with Nepali culture too. It's a sincere dialogue, is the phrase used.
I like that. It's not just about the views, though they are spectacular, not just Everest, but Kumbala, Nepse, Pumori, the Khumbu Glacier.
Right, those other giants. But also the smaller things, the fields, the rhododendrons, the forests.
Exactly. And crucially, staying in the villages, visiting monasteries, maybe seeing rituals, you get a real insight into the Sherpa way of life. It's deeply enriching.
Plus, you get that bookend experience in Kathmandu, the city of temples, with all its history.
So it becomes this holistic adventure, physical challenge, natural beauty, cultural immersion. That's the real draw.
The source also touches on the best times to go. Spring, March to June, or autumn, September to December.
The two main trekking seasons, yeah.
Spring means clear skies after winter, maybe more snow on the peaks, potentially some short showers, but warmer days. Good for seeing a fully iced Everest.
And the rhododendrons are usually out in spring, which is a huge bonus visually.
Then autumn is often called perfect. Clear skies, great mountain views, lush plants after the monsoon, gentle sun. Less snow maybe, but crystal clear views.
Autumn generally offers the most stable weather and best visibility. Plus, it's festival season in Nepal Dashain, Tihar, which adds another layer of cultural experience if your timing is right. Pleasant temperatures, too.
So both good options, just slightly different flavors.
Precisely. It depends what you prioritize.
And just to give people an idea what's usually involved in a package like this, the source lists key inclusions.
Useful context?
Airport pickup drop-off, a few nights in Kathmandu with breakfast, tea house accommodation with breakfast on the trek.
Tea houses are the standard lodging. Basic but usually warm and sociable.
The flights, Kathmandu Manthali to Lukla and back. All the permits and park fees.
Which can be a hassle to arrange yourself, so having them included is good.
An English-speaking guide, and porters, usually one porter for every 2 trekkers in standard packages.
The guide and porters are absolutely essential. They're the backbone of the trek's success and safety.
Yeah, sounds pretty comprehensive. Covers the main logistics. You'd still need a budget for lunches, dinners, snacks, tips, insurance, your own gear.
Exactly. But it gives a good baseline of what's covered.
We even got a few snippets from reviews in the source material.
Oh, interesting. What did people say?
One called it incredible, strongly recommended the Kalapathar hike, and mentioned taking a helicopter back was a completely different experience, maybe quicker.
Definitely quicker. Offers amazing views, too, from a different perspective, but adds cost, obviously.
Another praised the organization, management, hospitality. Someone else highlighted customization options and how supportive their guide was.
That's key. A good guide makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and another group enjoyed their 12-day trek, mentioning the guide's hard work. Just general positive comments about Nepal's beauty and the company, too.
It sounds like people generally have very positive, often life-changing experiences, especially when it's well organized. Those testimonials really bring it home.
Definitely. And finally, for anyone listening who's maybe thinking, okay, 15 days is standard, but what else is there? The source briefly lists other options.
Good to know.
Like a shorter 8-day Everest panorama trek. Maybe if you're tight on time or altitude is a concern. 14-day Gokyo Valley trek. Those lakes look stunning.
The Gokyo Valley is spectacular. A bit quieter than the main EBC trail often.
A much longer 22-day trek starting from Jiri, the old-school approach.
For purists. Excellent for acclimatization, though.
And an 11-day EBC trek that uses a helicopter to fly out from near base camp.
The heli-out option, yeah. Saves those return walking days if time is short or knees are protesting.
So lots of variety depending on time, interest, budget, fitness.
Absolutely. The Khumbu region offers a trek for almost everyone interested in experiencing the Himalayas up close.
So wrapping this up, looking back at this detailed 15-day itinerary, It really paints a picture of a journey that blends just jaw-dropping scenery with um, really meaningful cultural encounters.
It absolutely does. It shows how you can achieve something significant, experience something profound without needing to be a technical climber.
It really seems like a well-rounded, achievable, yet incredibly rewarding adventure.
A proper challenge, yes, but one that immerses you completely in the majesty of the place and the spirit of the Sherpa people.
So, maybe a final thought for you listening. Considering everything we've walked through, what part of this Everest Base Camp trek resonates most? Is it the sheer scale of the mountains, the interaction with Sherpa culture, or maybe the personal challenge of reaching that altitude?
Hmm. And perhaps think about how undertaking a journey like this might shift your own perspective, on the world, maybe even on what you're capable of.
Something to ponder.